go for the final time. We are free! Oh, they make contact! A terrible crash!
We're in it.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome here to race number 4 of the final season, Season 10 of the NNSCRA Snickers Cup Series. Now, normally we come to this track closer to midway point of the season, even closer towards the chase of the championship, but final season, schedule mixed up a little bit, and Watkins Glen is our 4th stop here of the season, the first road course stop for these drivers as they prepare for 23 laps of no caution racing, which could lead to fuel mileage. And somebody that knows something about road courses is joining me here in the booth, first co-commentator of the season, Chris Washer, in the booth with me here today at the Glen. Chris, thanks for being here.
No problem. Road course racing is really exciting. For the people in the stands, it's much more exciting. They're witnessing in person. But it's not your usual left turn race here today.
Not at all, and this is going to be a track that, like I said, no caution, so these drivers are going to have to be a little bit more cautious of how they are around each other, because one mistake and that could be your whole race.
Exactly, unless somehow fuel mileage plays in and you have enough fuel to last you till the end.
And at this particular track, I guess one advantage is this track doesn't have a super whole lot of elevation changes. Basically, from the final turn to the front straightaway, that's the biggest, or to the turn 1, I should say, that's like the biggest elevation change, and it's downhill. So how easy would it be for these drivers, say, if they have maybe 3 laps to go and they got about maybe 2 laps of fuel, how easy is it for them to conserve here at Watkins Glen?
They could just let off the throttle from the start-finish line till maybe the braking area to the 90, aka turn 1. That's the name of the turn. But Seth, the S's coming up, those 3 turns coming towards the bus stop, those are all uphill.
That's true. You're right.
And so that could just contradict what they're trying to do into turn 1. But coming out of the bus stop, coming out of the outer loop, I don't know if they're using the boot today or the NASCAR configuration, but either way, it's downhill for some of that, so it could play out to their advantage.
Well, we've had Tweenix Racing on quite a roll this season. 3 races, 3 victories, 1 for Trent Dunham, 2 for Dylan Poteet, and another Tweenix driver starts on the pole for this race, Danny Wells in the 4. So we're going to see if Tweenix Racing maybe will be able to go 4 for 4 here in Season 10. But we are just moments away from getting ready to go green, so let's go down trackside as New York native Johnny Gardner, driver of the number 10, is ready to give us our starting command.
I'm Stephanie and I am the Pepsi Racing Family New York family. Drivers, start your engines.
Engines have fired, they will roll off, and as I mentioned, Danny Wells starts on the pole position. Now, there are no caution flags, and like you said, fuel mileage definitely could play a factor into this race, but obviously being a road course, these drivers' track position, it probably is a good thing for these guys, at least starting up here at the front.
Yes, how you start the race is key, because if you get off to a really good start, that could be your race right there. You got your race won. You can't win the race on the first lap, but you can lose it. But the start certainly helps you trying to win the race. If you're starting in the back, you still don't really have a shot at winning this race, sadly. But you do have a good shot at least finishing in the top 20. So road courses, once again, as I've been saying, starts. You have to make sure your start is perfect because without a perfect start at the road course, especially no caution, Seth, that could really ruin your chances of winning this race.
There's another thing, too, is that normally in the past few seasons, it's been like race 8, race 9 when we go to Infineon. That's usually our first road course start. This is actually a good thing for drivers that consider themselves road course aces, coming to a road course this early on, getting themselves an opportunity to maybe pick up an early win because of the format that we've got for making the chase.
And yes, and for the road course rookies out there too, they're not really experienced on the road courses. This is a little test drive because Watkins Glen is not one of the hardest road courses, but don't get me wrong, it's certainly not an easy road course to drive. So some of these road course rookies will get some valuable experience, and we've seen first-time winners at Watkins Glen before.
Yeah, and to your point, yeah, Watkins Glen, if you look at some of the other places that we're going to on the schedule for road courses, yeah, this track's a lot easier. You got open roads that's going to be coming up. You got Thornton coming up. So, yeah, these guys, this is going to be a little bit of a taste of what road course racing is going to be like for them here in the Snickers Cup Series. So, great point there.
Yeah, and the shortest one of them all, because Thornton and open roads are held on public highways.
Yes, they are. Just about, I believe one is 12 miles long, the other one's 14 miles long, so yeah.
A little bit of endurance racing for these guys.
We'll give them a good idea, too, with the fact that we have no cautions here at Watkins Glen. Same's going to be said for open roads in Thornton, so they'll get a little bit of a taste of endurance racing with no cautions to bunch them back up. And who knows, it could very well not even just help a rookie driver this season, but it could help any one of these 42 drivers in this field for when we get to those two tracks.
Yeah, and especially with open roads and Thornton being 12, 14 miles long, it's basically not even practical to put cautions on because it's a large enough track. One example in the real world is the Nordschleife, which is about 15, 16 miles. They just hold slow zones for cars to get them out of the way. So that's what the NNSCRA will do. But we're going to get this thing underway, Seth.
Yes, we are. We got a good points battle coming to this race, too. Trent Dunham is the points leader by 9 points over Charles Samfer. And then it's a tie for third between Joshua Collard and Dylan Pote. They're 14 points back, and then 19 points back to the final driver in the top 5, Michael Norman. But Watkins Glen will certainly be shaking things up for sure. We're getting ready to go green. I'll turn it over to Chris here for the green flag.
And here they go. The pace car is on pit road. Looks like they're going green right about now. This is going to be the hardest parts of the race because you're just about starting, but this is one of the hardest corners on the racetrack. We might see some people go off the curbs there. Oh!
Man, Bob Jones got through that corner really well. Either that or Zach Buchanan didn't. And, oh, Bob! Yikes!
Ooh, Bob either can't wait to get in that lead, or he's just decided to push Danny Wells around.
I thought he was going to turn him in the S's. And another thing about this track, too, is if a wreck happens, this isn't exactly considered a very wide track. I mean, there's not very much room to be able to get around a wreck. So these drivers have to have their head on a swivel every single lap.
Oh yeah, compared to some other road courses in the world, the racing room around this track is certainly narrow. You see some runoff there, as you just saw, coming out of the outer loop.
Yeah, that's like the best roomiest spot. From the S's into the dog leg, that's like the worst place to have a wreck happen.
Yeah, before all this runoff room ever see across these corners used to be all gravel, especially on the bus stop. I believe that's still gravel.
Yep.
The 90 is coming up here. They used to have all gravel, but now it's converted to pavement, and that could be a passing move too.
Oh wait, we do have cautions. Wait, I thought we didn't have cautions. My bad. I thought for sure I had cautions on. I guess I didn't. Or cautions off. Whoops.
Let's just turn the cautions off.
Well, that was a problem.
Yep.
Yay, a fail by me! Every race seems to have one.
Yeah,
So-
road courses and NR with cautions don't mix that well, unless you have a really good eye.
So apparently the caution flag is out. I thought I had him turned off, so I apologize. But see who the caution was for. It. Oh, looks like we had some teammates there. Joshua Collard, who's actually tied for third in the standings. Johnny Gardner, who dropped a couple of spots in the standings last week to 12th, and Austin LaPlante in the 43. Looks like they are all damaged goods here at the rear of the field, and Collard crossed the line in 40th, so that tells me some other drivers might be out of the race.
Oh, dang. Collard was, I believe, in that points battle, so that'll be a huge shame to him.
Anthony McCurry and Stephen Pollard III are not on track. So they must have come to pit road and retired or something. So the caution flag is out. I apparently was wrong in thinking that we were going caution free. I probably got this track mixed up with Infineon. I think Infineon was where we're going to go caution free, but I thought I did caution free on all road courses. But we are under the yellow for the first time today at the Glen. We're going to jump back, take a look at a replay of what put us under the yellow here on lap number 1. Well, this was back just either inside or just outside of the top 30, and Joshua Collard racing with former teammate Jessica Shelton, Tim Walsh right behind him, and something going to take place here out of the final corner. Watch up ahead there, the 10 of Johnny Gardner. Might start with him.
Oh, they just got a little too...
Oh, yeah, right there, Johnny Gardner. And oh, look behind them. Stephen Pollard III and Anthony McCurry upside down. What happened to those two?
I think they just got a little bit wide and the cars just leaned on each other and towards the wall.
DJ Curtis collected in that as well. And then there's Joshua Collard. Now we're gonna have to focus on both of these wrecks at one point or another. Now we know that Gardner got up, kind of squeezed Michael Norman into the wall. There's the shot from Richard Johnson. Oh, and then Joshua Collard tried to get to the inside and he just got collected. Oh, Cody Lamas.
This ruined a lot of days.
And look at Trent Dunham there sneaking through the grass. The points leader gets through that wreck after not qualifying so well for this race. But now let's jump back here. DJ Curtis and Austin LaPlante, I believe, both got involved in this incident involving Stephen Pollard III and Anthony McCurry. But, boy, I didn't even see the two of them until afterwards. Oh, wow.
Looks like someone just turned Anthony McCurry.
Looks like it might have been the 43 of LaPlante. Let's watch this here. LaPlante trying to move up to help his entry into the final turn. And yeah, he just gets into McCurry's right rear.
That's a shame, because Anthony McCurry is another person who's really good on these road courses. He had the chance, because he really knows how to maneuver the traffic. He's basically a road course ace, but that's not going to help him at all.
Man, and look at the impact there. That is a safer barrier that they've put on that portion of the track, but if both the cars on impact flipping over Anthony McCurry and Stephen Pollard III, and DJ Curtis indeed did get a piece of that, so one of our two Rookie of the Race contenders badly mangled, and Austin LaPlante as well, who had a great run last week at Las Vegas. Another poor week for him here at the Glen.
Dang. You know, in my personal opinion, I think they should have put that safer barrier onto those Armco barriers you see on the left side of your screen, because then there'll be more room for racing.
Yeah, and then a little bit more time to scrub off some speed as well, because McCurry was going probably around 120 when he hit that outside wall, along with Stephen Pollard III. So yeah, that's a hard hit for both of those drivers. We've got several drivers damaged after two incidents taking place in almost the same portion of the track. So we'll go back now and get ready to go back to green. Danny Wells is the current leader. So we'll get ready for our first restart of the day on lap 4 of 23. Danny Wells leads Bob Jones. Zach Buchanan is in third. Seth Cole fourth. Fifth is Kyle Matthews. And then it's Joshua Michaels, James Quall, Sean Henley, Sean Galligan, and Lyndon Wright, who is actually the defending race winner of this event. Ended up picking up I believe it was Division 2 win here last season. So we'll see if Lyndon can maybe go back-to-back at the Glen. After that incident, we do have a couple of drivers that are out of the race, and they are the cars of Stephen Pollard III and Anthony McCurry, I believe, is out of the race. We're going to have to see if he gets scored or not. But we're back green, and now the question is, they've had one caution flag. It's a single-file restart. How likely and how quickly do you think it would be for these guys to get into trouble again?
Looks like they're already going too wide coming to the S's, so I wouldn't be surprised if they got into, if some other cars got into other sorts of trouble. But it is single file, like you mentioned, so there is less likely. Oh, never mind. Yeah. I was just gonna say, there's less likely if there's gonna be a crash. But I saw the back of the field, like, oh.
Yeah, there you see former teammates Joshua Michaels, Sean Galligan battling with each other. There was another battle back here going on. Chris Dollerton and Lyndon Wright, along with Benjamin Miles. One thing that I've noticed, though, is that Danny Wells, he's got a good car out there, but Bob Jones, when we went green and here on this restart, he has hung right with the Mountain Dew Voltage Chevrolet. So the question is, when does Bob Jones make his move, and can he make the move?
Well, if Bob Jones is gonna make a move, he's probably gonna do it in one of the best overtaking spots on the track,
And
which
there you
is
go.
the 90.
Right there. Is he going to make it stick? Whoa, Danny.
Yes.
Yeah, Danny got under the rumble strips there. I think he might have wheel spun a little bit because of that. And now he's going to lose a spot to teammate Seth Cole. Battle for second as Bob Jones to the front.
Yeah, when you're trying to defend the spot, going onto the rumble strips, it's not exactly the best idea. You kind of want to stay on the track as much as possible. I think the only good thing about the rumble strips for racing or qualifying is if you go, like, above the rumble strips and get some extra speed in real life road course racing, but in racing and NR, not so much.
Caution flag is out for the second time here today. Bob Jones going to lead him back here over Seth Cole, Danny Wells. Looks like Joshua Michaels moved up into the 4th position, and that tells me, yeah, I think there's one driver that's conspicuously missing from the top 10 that I saw just moments ago, and that's the 70 of James Qualls. So I don't know if he was involved or not in what brought this yellow flag out, but he is not up inside the top 10 anymore, and he was just a few moments ago.
I don't know, maybe he's not involved in the wreck. Maybe he just got a mistake in the bus stop or ran a little too wide.
Nope, there he is.
Oh, never mind then. Looks like he got plowed.
Yeah, it does. He might have gotten spun coming out of the S's, or out of the dog leg rather, because that's where I saw him battling for position. And Cody Lamas, who already got damaged from an earlier incident after he got into Joshua Collard, he's coming down pit road as well. And Zach Buchanan, there we go. Now we know who Qualls wrecked with.
And he started second.
Yes, he did. Started on the outside of the front row, and I'm pretty certain that was a battle for the 4th position that was going on between Buchanan and Qualls. And boy, something apparently did not give in that battle, and both of them now wrecked race cars. Qualls already back behind the wall.
Yeah, he's out for today.
That's a tough break for both of those drivers. James Qualls came into this race 14th in the point standings. Zach Buchanan having a struggling season, 33rd coming into the first 3 races of the season. So certainly not good for him. And obviously, as we just said, both were up inside the top 5 at the moment that they wrecked. So the caution flag is out for the second time here today. Bob Jones is now the leader. Let's jump back and take a look at a replay of what happened to them. Then we'll come back and see if maybe these drivers had to make pit stops under this second caution of the day. Well, it started with a battle for the 3rd position between pole sitter Danny Wells and outside pole sitter Zach Buchanan. And Zach Buchanan, there's not a whole lot of grip actually out in that outer groove of the dog leg.
Oh no, that concrete that's where you want to be at. Dogleg isn't really a good spot to pass.
And then Buchanan tries to cut it back in, and James Qualls got the run on him, and there you see the contact, and oh man, Qualls hardened the tire barriers. Buchanan.
But that doesn't explain the damage on the front end of. Wait a minute,
don't tell me.
He got way too wide, and he couldn't save it in time. He couldn't brake.
I've driven this track. There is no grip up there. When that car goes, all you can hope for is that you can hold the brake and it will not get to the tire barrier. And apparently that's what Zach tried to do, and unfortunately it got up there into the tires as well.
Yeah, he's just way too fast.
But man, what a tough break for Zach, and a tough break as well for James Qualls, because I mean James was just the innocent party in all of that. Tried to make the move around Buchanan, and Buchanan just didn't give him enough room. And he got forced into the tire barriers as well. And it looks like both of them, running at the time in 4th and 5th place, are going to be out of this event. And that's what happened to Cody Lamas. Now why did Lamas take the turn wide? Oh, looks like he was
just slow.
Yeah, just trying to get out of the way. Apparently Austin LaPlante and Johnny Gardner are a little bit faster, unless there wasn't any contact between the 43 and the 48. He was just trying to move out of the way of these guys.
And looks like
And then, boy. Do
they have any steering issues?
He might. I mean, the entire front end of that car is gone.
Because of that speed, no matter how much grip is up there, you would have continued onto the turn and made it back around the track.
So, boy, a tough break there for Cody Lamas. Apparently having some steering issues or something. I think you're right. Gets into the back of Qualls. So, 3 cars technically involved in this one, and boy, I think Qualls might have not been too happy with that punt he got from Cody Lamas or something.
I think there's going to be some shuffling in the garage tonight.
There could very well be. Who says short track's the only place where tempers are short? But anyway, we're getting ready to go back to Green Flag Racing. We're going to have a different looking top 5 for sure when we get back green. But the thing that will remain the same is Bob Jones is the current leader. Getting ready to go back to green on lap 8 of 23. Bob Jones, the leader, over Seth Cole, Danny Wells, Joshua Michaels, and Kyle Matthews, now the top 5. So we've gone 7 laps. We'll be completing lap 7, going on to lap 8 when we take the green here, and we've already gone under 2 caution flags, which tells me that these drivers may not have to plan for a fuel mileage race, because more than likely, I think we're in store for a couple more cautions, and these drivers will be able to come down, make their pit stop under yellow, and be able to make it the rest of the way on fuel.
The thing is, how many times are they going to pit? Because I've seen races this long where they only have to stop for 1 time, and they stop for 2 times, so.
And also, these drivers, they've gone 7 laps, now on to 8, and they haven't been to pit road yet. And the caution's out again.
Out.
So there you go. Seems like any strategy that these drivers might have in regards to fuel is basically going out the window. They're getting the benefit of these cautions, and it's going to basically be whoever has the fastest pit stop, it would seem, is going to get out, get the track position, and maybe dominate this race. And right now it's looking like that person is going to be the 27 of Bob Jones.
Bob Jones certainly has one of the fastest cars out there. Danny Wells, don't count him out just yet. He's currently in that 3rd place position. He could definitely have a late race punch and just go right up to the front and pass Bob Jones last lap. You know, miracle victory.
Yep, caution flag out for the 3rd time today. To your point, though, real quickly about that, Danny Wells, in order to get to Bob Jones, he'd have to get by his Tweaks Racing teammate Seth Cole. And we saw last week at Las Vegas, Seth Cole, Dylan Pote, Trent Dunham, they all raced it up amongst themselves, even though they were teammates, all 3 trying to battle for that win. So, not necessarily meaning that Seth Cole's going to give Danny Wells the room to get up there and battle Bob Jones, if Danny's able to have a good car here at the end.
Well, let's see. Only time will tell.
Jessica Shelton,
Oh, she
way
looks,
back. Can't tell.
She doesn't look like damaged.
No, it doesn't look like she's damaged. Maybe she spun. Oh, the points leader, Trent Dunham. Is he? Here's the question though. Is he? I think he is. Yeah, he's teleported to pit road.
I can see
Oh
the buckle,
my
a little bit of
goodness.
a buckle.
Wow.
Yeah, I can see a little bit of buckle in the hood. of the
And I
car.
also failed to mention too that another driver who won the Division 3 race here last season, Charles Sanford's in this field, and right now he's got to be licking his chops because he only came in 9 points behind Trent Dunham in the standings, and now with Trent on the pit road, obviously having to teleport there, it would appear this is going to play right into the hands of the driver out of Retro Racing Enterprises.
Now hold on, Seth. Currently, Trent is still on pit road, so they could be repairing that car. It's not out of the race yet. So
Exactly. If he could get that car back onto the track. Now here's the question though: would he at this point be a lap down because of teleporting or not? If he could get off pit road ahead of these leaders, maybe he'd be back on the lead lap. But I don't know if he teleported there before or after the drivers hit the start-finish line to put them under the caution. That would be the question.
It's going to be very interesting. Charles Sanford, if I was him, I'd be like, is he out? Is he out?
Yeah. What's going on with that one? Keep me posted. Charles Sanford right now being scored in the 18th position. So, based on where Trent is, it would be Charles Sanford taking the points lead over. But Still got to find out whether that one team's going to be able to get out there or not. And Charles Sanford's not out of the woods yet. We've had 3 caution flags. He could very well be in one of these cautions before this race is over as well. But we're under yellow for the 3rd time here today. Bob Jones continues to lead. Let's take a look and see what happened to our points leader. Well, the big question is the rivalry back? Tim Walsh and Trent Dunham had patched up things between each other. But right here, heading into turn 1, it's Walsh running straight into the back of Trent Dunham. That was awfully interesting.
And it's not done yet. Trent Dunham's still trying to find that grip. He's on the outside. He finds... But, the 47's going to turn him.
Yeah, Richard Johnson had the run there. Trent kind of came back out into traffic, and then Trent across the nose of Austin LaPlante as well, and there's the shot into the wall, and there you go, black smoke. That's the fatal sign right there that engine has expired, and that pretty much ends the day for Trent Dunham here at the Glen. Man. And Trent Dunham was a former winner of this event as well back in Season 8. I believe Watkins Glen was where he picked up his 3rd win of that season, and boy, not having a good day here today for sure. Unfortunately, though, for him, he kind of cannot fault Richard Johnson because Richard was just trying to run his line. He had Cole Dally to his inside, and Trent was actually the one that merged back down early into traffic.
Yeah, but Trent had nowhere to go because he was heading towards grass. And then it wasn't an open area forever because as soon as he got to his S's, the walls just closed up on each other. So Trent had nowhere to go.
So we already saw James Qualls very unhappy with Cody Lamas. Now the question is here at the Glen, has the greatest NR 2003 rivalry rekindled itself? Tim Walsh punting former rival Trent Dunham out of the way. Trent Dunham, as a result, out of the race. It could be back for the final season of Snickers Cup, folks. You never know. But also we got to look and see because the 25 of Jessica Shelton was way back. She was on pit road at the time. Now, is this regularly scheduled, or did she get turned down the pit road entrance or something?
Looks like she was... I think that might be a scheduled pit stop. I could be wrong.
Let's see. She's here. Yeah, she committed to pit road and came down. That actually wasn't bad strategy maybe on Shelton's part because, we've been under the caution flag 2 times, now a 3rd time. This could help maybe get her some track position or something. And when everybody else pits, she can then stay out. So interesting strategy there that really could pay off.
Now, Seth, we had the NNSCRA Budweiser Pro Series race ran by Michael Norman a couple of days ago. And Jessica Shelton, it was a quick 9-lap race, and fuel mileage was in the factor. And Jessica Shelton stayed out until the last lap. Now, it was a caution. It was a caution coming to the white flag. And Jessica Shelton didn't pit yet. And then, coming into the bus stop, Shelton ran out of fuel. So, I think Shelton's learning from her mistakes. But the thing is, if she makes this pit stop, can she make it on the gallon or the gallons of fuel she's getting right now?
Yeah, it's a
or
good
will she
point.
Have to pit again?
Yeah, because we don't really know what the fuel window is here for this track. And pitting on lap 7, she'd have to, if she can conserve a little bit of fuel under these pacing laps, she would then have to make it pretty much about 14 laps, it would seem, on that tank of fuel. And that's a great question of whether or not she can make it. She went with only the left side tires there on that stop, but they got it full of fuel apparently. I hope anyway. Usually it's a 4-tire stop and you get it completely full of fuel, but we'll have to see if this strategy plays out for Jessica Shelton as we get ready now to go back to green. So we'll get ready to go back to green once again. We have not even yet hit the halfway point. Lap 11 of 23 is when the green flag will come back out. Right now, Bob Jones still the leader. Seth Cole is the 2nd place driver. Joshua Michaels has now moved up to 3rd. Sean Henley now 4th. Lyndon Wright now up to 5th. And then it's going to be William Duncan, Brandon Gonzalez, Danny Wells, Austin Mongol, and Charles Samper as the green flags back out. Now, here's the interesting thing. The drivers did come down pit road under this caution. That's why everything's so shuffled up. One driver who also came to pit road was the 25 of Jessica Shelton. She did not stay out. So this is going to be interesting.
Yeah, but Bob Jones, it looks like people are on the shuffle pit stop strategy here.
And you know one other thing that's interesting too, we know for certain Trent Dunham is out of the race. Charles Sanford's team, they got themselves a really good pit stop, and he's restarting up inside the top 10, trying to take away that points lead and have as big a gap as he can heading into next week. Great strategy by that 03 team.
Unless Charles Sanford finishes less than 9 spots ahead of Dunham, he will have the points lead coming into next week, and he wants to win to try to get the greatest gap of the points lead.
Not only that, but maybe lock himself up a spot in this season's chase for the championship. Caution flag back out again. This for the 4th time. We've only gone 11 laps, and it seems like every single time we get back green, the yellow flag waves its ugly head, and this time the 4th caution of the day at the Glen. Bob Jones got to be loving these yellows, though, because every time the caution comes out, it's less laps for him to have to try and defend that lead from whoever's behind him, whether it be Danny Wells or it be Seth Cole.
And less laps to run that fuel tank, that tank of fuel under green.
And it looks like 2 drivers on pit road damaged, rookie DJ Curtis and also Dylan Poteet in the 31, who comes into this race.
And Walsh.
4th in the stands, and Tim Walsh also, yes, you're right. 15 of Tim Walsh, who we saw get involved in that earlier incident with Trent Dunham. He's now on pit road as well, and he's out of the race. I think Poteet's also out.
Oh dear.
Boy, a lot of the key players, whether it be on track or in points, are in trouble today. We have had 4 of the top 5 in the standings coming into today's race get involved in one thing or another, and 2 of them have retired from the race now at this point, Trent Dunham and Dylan Poteet, who actually are the 2 former winners this season, so we're guaranteed a brand new winner here in Season 10 today. Question is, who's it going to be? But we are just about past the halfway point now. I think we just hit the halfway point of this race. Bob Jones continues to dominate here at the Glen. Let's look and see what happened to take Tim Walsh, Dylan Poteet, and DJ Curtis out of this race. Well, here's what happened. Danny Wells, whose team didn't give him that great a pit stop, was way back there. Oh, man, he just punted DJ Curtis out of the way, and then Michael Norman spun in the dog leg as well.
Just a huge chain reaction of events. Oh, no. Danny Wells.
Oh, man, the car brakes locked up, and he had absolutely no control over that race car. The car spins around on him. And then, oh, my goodness, what happens up here? Is this the result of Norman coming back on track? Question is, who spun out Norman, though? That's what we got to look at here. Oh, he's going to get turned by the 16 of Ryan Acosta. Right there in the left rear. His car goes around in the grass area, right there in the middle of the dog leg. Now, Danny Wells' car spun off track. He did not get involved with anybody, but then Michael Norman going to come back across the racetrack. And, well, he's trying to get the car going, and just gets run over by Levi McIntyre.
Such a shame. These guys put
man.
Oh, hard hit.
That's Dylan Young in the 2. John Zdeno in the 72. There you see Tim Walsh. Can't see through the dust to see who clipped him. Johnny Gardner. There's Dylan Poteet. That's Richard Johnson. He gets nailed from behind by Cody Loveless. And then Danny Wells. Oh, man, never slowed down. And he runs into Richard Johnson. Boy, they really did not seem to want to brake in that portion of the track either.
I don't know why, but usually if you see dust, the racer will know, oh, I got to brake, something happened here.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Danny Wells had the thing basically saved. He did not hit the tire barriers after sliding through the dog leg, but then he drove it full force into Richard Johnson, and boy, a number of drivers getting involved in this one. DJ Curtis, Richard Johnson, Johnny Gardner, Dylan Young, John Citadino, as well as Dylan Poteet, and a number of others. Michael Norman getting spun. He's got damage now as well, and Ryan Acosta, Tim Walsh also collected in this one. So again, another big wreck taking place. This one just around the 15th position, and we're under yellow once again here at the Glen. Now, this is not live, But this just took place. Pit stops taking place amongst the leaders. Bob Jones, Seth Cole, Sean Henley. Pretty much the top 5 coming in, but a number of drivers decided to stay out. And it looks like it was a gas and go strategy for all of these drivers. So they're going to lose track position, but now the question is this the fuel stop that's going to give them enough fuel to get to the end?
Bob almost had a little wiggle there.
And Bob Jones gets out of pit road as the leader, but you notice a number of other drivers up ahead decided to stay out, and the leader actually cycled around to be the 54 Toyota of Charles Jackson. So he'll be the one to lead us back.
And to take a look who pitted earlier, it's Jessica Shelton. She's currently in the 2nd spot.
Indeed. Benjamin Miles there in 3rd, 4th Jacob Lawler, and if I'm not mistaken, yeah, Kyle Matthews, his teammate, right there in the 5th position. So let's head back now for the restart. Looks like it'll be the Farmers Insurance Toyota out of Gibbs Waltrip Mayonnaise Racing that'll get us back underway. Getting ready to go back to Green Flag Racing. On lap 14 of 23, Charles Jackson gets us back underway. Now, I believe the 54 came to pit road earlier, and that's why he decided to stay out. But the big question is, can he, Jessica Shelton, Benjamin Miles, Lawler, Matthews, can these drivers make it the rest of the way on fuel? Or is this not the last pit stop that we're going to be seeing today?
They have 10 laps to go, and 10 laps is longer than...
Oh! One car up and into the guardrail and upside down!
Who was it?
I couldn't tell who it was. It was in the S's. If I were to wager a guess based on who's missing up there, I would think maybe it was Dollarton, but I don't know. Maybe Kyle Matthews.
It feels Bob Jones, I swear.
Somebody got to... I heard the contact into the steel guardrail there in the S's, and all I saw was the undercarriage of somebody's machine. I could not tell who it was, but the yellow flag out once again. Every portion of this track hitting these drivers, whether it be turn 1, whether it be the dog leg, the S's, they're seeming to really have a difficult time here with this entire racetrack, and Charles Jackson is going to get the benefit of some bonus points here with leading a lap, and he'll be leading under the yellow flag, the 5th one of the day. Let's see what... Oh, there was a wreck coming out of the final corner, and Charles Sanford was in that one.
At least Charles Sanford would be ahead of Trent Dillon.
Right. Now, I'm trying to look on pit road. There is nobody on pit road. Oh, there we go. I'll bet you it was Matthews. I'll bet you Matthews was the one that flipped. He was up inside the top 5 for the restart, started 5th, and I believe he was the one that flipped over. Caution flag out again. It's still seeming like it's turned into a fuel strategy race, but not as much under the green flag as under the constant yellows. But we'll take a look now and see what happened to Kyle Matthews, who came into this race 6th in the point standings. So continuing to hit the drivers in the top 10 in points is Watkins Glen, as we have yet another replay to take a look at. So here's what happened with Kyle Matthews, and it looks like it's Sean Galligan he got together with. Man, as soon as he hit the guardrail, the car flipped.
We've seen this happen before, actually.
And like you said, this is a particular portion of the track here in the S's where a lot of the speed is carried. Oh, wait, he went over the entire guardrail. He's out of the track.
I don't know what happened to the catch fence there.
I don't either. There is a catch fence normally there, but I don't get it.
And he's disappearing into the
trees. He's gonna be the new Slender Man.
I must go. My people need me.
He's Jurassic World. He's got to go back in the wild. Oh
yeah,
my god.
Chris Pratt needs to tame him.
The dinosaurs are free. Oh my goodness. I've not ever seen a car actually exit out of the boundaries of Watkins Glen before. And you're right, there is supposed to be a catch fence there, but apparently not right at that portion. Maybe it's a little further up in the S's, but boy, that's a wild ride for Kyle Matthews. And Kyle Matthews was well known for taking wild rides last season. His season's been a little bit better here this year. He's 6th in the points after 3 races, but he's going to fall out of the top 10 in points probably after today's race. And of course, we got to find out too. I don't know how significant the damage might be on Sean Galligan's car as well.
We need them safer barriers.
Yeah, safer barriers at Watkins Glen. Make it happen now. Well, some parts of it do have safer barriers, but that place was steel guardrails, so yeah, that's a hard hit for both of them. So we're under the caution. Once again, let's go back now for yet another restart here at Watkins Glen. So we'll get ready to go back to green. Charles Jackson the leader, Jessica Shelton in second. Then it's Jacob Lawler, Nathan Hudson, Benjamin Miles, Dougie Shears, Chris Darlington. And then it's James McLeod, James Silverfox, and Chris Wash in the top 10. Now we know that all 10 of those drivers did not come down pit road the last time the leaders hit pit road. So the question is, as we'll get the green with about 7 to go, can they make it the rest of the way on fuel?
We actually don't know what these teams are thinking, so it could be an actual scheduled pit stop that they had earlier on in the race, or it could be a short pit. That means they only got enough fuel to last until the end.
And the interesting thing, too, is to see how drivers that were up at the front early on in this thing, like Bob Jones, Danny Wells, all those drivers, how they're going to be able to work their way through traffic if these drivers are in fuel conservation mode. I mean, will these guys maybe be able to hold off those other drivers who might be able to make it the rest of the way now?
But what if they aren't in fuel conservation mode? What if they're just pushing it the way?
They could be, but I'll tell you what, these cautions that have been coming out have helped them to maybe do some clutching under pacing laps, because they've got another yellow flag out here. Cautions breeding cautions. I think our longest run was 2 laps so far today. We've pretty much been 1 lap and another caution.
On the inside.
Yeah, Jacob Lawler, a little move there on Charles Jackson.
But Charles Jackson has the preferred line coming to the last corner, but Jackson's not quitting. He may get the lead.
Let's see if Lawler can get at Jackson at the line. They're going to drag race it down, and I think Lawler did get him on the high side.
Lawler!
Wow.
Oh, dear God, that was a huge voice crack.
Yes, it was.
Lawler!
Oh, Jacob Lawler. Nice drag race there with Charles Jackson getting the run off the final corner. He'll be the leader under caution with 6 laps to go. It's getting down to crunch time now to find out if these drivers are going to be able to make it the rest of the way or not. But the question now is, who did this involve? Oh, another of the Hendrick Daly cars. This time Cole Daly in the 88.
I was about to say what Lawler pulled on the outside of the last corner. That really impressed me, because normally you can't get a move coming out the outside. But somehow Lawler did it. I guess Jackson didn't have the speed coming to that corner.
Yeah, that rumble strip there off the final corner is very hard to get some grip there and try and drag race somebody, but Lawler was able to do it. Oh, and Brandon Gonzalez involved as well in the 23.
The Mitsubishi.
Yeah, the defending champion, and that car is smoking. So, looks like a couple of drivers who are running well, and there's some other drivers up here. Chris Darlington, James McLeod. Now, if I'm not mistaken, those
they were in the top 10.
Yes, they were just outside the top, or just inside the top 10, like in 8th and 9th place. And there was another driver who just retired ahead of these guys, and that was, I believe, if I'm correct, I think it might have been Dylan Young in the 2.
He's a lap down. I don't know if he's retired.
I don't know if he's retired now. Maybe it was Sean Galligan. I don't know. We're gonna have to find out though. Jacob Lawler, with less than 5 to go when they hit the stripe, is the leader. The question is, will he be able to make it the rest of the way on fuel? We'll find out as we're going to take a look at yet another yellow flag, another replay, as cautions continue to happen here at Watkins Glen. This was a battle for the 7th position. 2 drivers who were trying to play the fuel strategy, Chris Darlington and James McLeod, and boy, looked like Benjamin Miles maybe got wide in that corner. Darlington tried giving room, but McLeod was already to his inside.
Just a fortunate accident once again. Another one of those incidents where a driver thought he had room, but, didn't work out at the end.
And you just saw right there, Sean Galligan ended up getting into his teammate James McLeod, and then, in the trying to avoid James McLeod, Brandon Gonzalez is going to go up and he's going to turn Cole Daly down to the steel guardrail.
Just a series of unfortunate events.
Oh, and then Sean Henley in the 57 got hit from the 88. So that's another driver we didn't know was involved. Some right side damage on the Viagra Chevrolet.
No, being a Viagra car, you expect it to be on track for a longer period of time.
Wow. Really? Okay. Wow. Man, that just happened. Okay, anyway. So it looks like about 5 or 6 cars involved here just off of turn number 1. A number of them were running up inside the top 15. The defending champion Brandon Gonzalez collected in this, and a number of other drivers. Highest running in points that was collected in this that I can see was Cold Alley. He came into this race 20th in the point stands. Brandon Gonzalez right behind him, 21st in points. So a couple of drivers going to take a hard hit in the standings as we continue to run under cautions here, hoping, praying for a green flag run to the end. But we'll see what happens as we're going to get ready now to go back for yet another restart. Getting ready to go back to green flag racing. A little bit of irony up here at the front of the field. We've got the Season 6 Snickers Cup Series champion in first in Jacob Lawler. Season 5 Snickers Cup Series champion in second in Charles Jackson. And the Season 1 champion of Dougie Shears in the third position. Then it'll be Jessica Shelton, Benjamin Miles, the top 5. As we get ready to go back to green, still the big question mark. These drivers up here at the front, can they make it on fuel? 4 to go here at the Glen.
I'm sure if they get a caution this lap, they'll restart around 2 laps, maybe even 1 lap to go. And if a caution comes out this lap, then I think the people up front will have enough fuel for it to stay up till the end.
You know what I'd love is if this thing did go green to the end, because these drivers, they've been running under the caution flag more than green flag laps here. So now if we do go clean and green to the end, then these drivers have to go into fuel conservation mode under green flag conditions rather than being able to have the luxury of clutching under pacing laps.
Bob Jones is actually back in the top 10.
Yes, he is. Right there, Bob Jones in the 27, all over the back bumper of James Silverfox. Now, I would say we can pretty much assume he's going to go all out and not even worry about fuel, because he was one of those drivers that came down pit road when he was up there in the top 3 early on in this thing. Another one, Seth Cole back there. Currently, I think he's in the 10th position.
And he's going to go to the inside of Silver Fox, I believe that is.
Oh,
whoa,
well, we're getting pit stops. Here we go.
Pit stops.
Pit stops are going to happen. It's going to be, Jessica Shelton is staying out as everybody else is in that stayed out on that last run. And Seth Cole's in as well, so maybe Bob Jones can't make it.
Oh,
let's see.
47 is damage. There's no caution.
There is no caution. They are still green with 3 to go, less than 3 to go now. Shelton leads. Bob Jones in second. Third is Sean Henley, who was involved in the last caution. Nathan Hudson fourth. Johnny Gardner, no hood, is fifth. And Richard Johnson is sixth. Everybody else is on pit road.
That's a miracle story. The guy without a hood in 5th place.
And look at Jessica Shelton. Remember, she ended up making that pit stop a long time ago when the caution came out. So that was why she was able to cycle up here to the front. But Bob Jones, we know how strong he's been early on. I think that she's going to have her hands full with that 27 in these final few laps.
And plus, Jessica is saving fuel. Plus, I see her going down pit road this time by. So look at Bob Jones. It's going to breeze on to a win.
Oh!
Bob Jones!
Jones is coming to pit road.
Shelton's staying out.
Yes, Shelton's going to try and stay out. Henley's coming in. Hudson's coming in. Gardner's coming in. And so is Richard Johnson. The only one that's rolling the dice right now is Jessica Shelton in the 25. This could be risky, though, because she's got to make it around 2 more circuits.
Well, it depends. She has a big gap. And through the downhill sections, she could just not use any of her power at all.
But also, one thing that I got to point out here, too, we saw how hard she was racing with Bob Jones. She actually just ran her fastest lap of the race that time, so she was not conserving at all on that last lap.
Question is, Seth, what if we're misunderstanding what Jessica's doing? Maybe she is good on fuel.
It's going to be questionable, though, because Bob Jones, Seth Cole, and others, they pitted long after Jessica Shelton came down pit road, and that's why she was able to gain so much track position on them. So unless she was conserving a lot of fuel under those pacing laps, I would be very questionable as to whether or not she can make it the rest of the way. She's going to risk it. She's going to risk it. She's going to try one more circuit around. She's got herself a great gap, so if she runs out of fuel, maybe she can coast it around the rest of the way.
Yeah, she's going to run out of fuel coming on that back straightaway through the last 2 corners.
Pretty much
she
gotta
just ran her fastest lap of the race that time.
Yes, she did. 109.634. So if she is conserving, the lap times aren't showing it. I mean, why not? Why not go for broke? I mean, when you think about it, a win gets you into the chase. And Jessica Shelton, very good at road courses. Why not try and risk it? Go for broke here at a track that you know you can win at.
The thing is, what if she does run out of fuel? Who's gonna be second?
Second place hasn't even crossed the start-finish line yet, I don't think. Unless the scoring monitor hadn't updated itself. It said, there we go, he just crossed. That's Bob Jones, 35 seconds back. Oh no, Lawler's 35 seconds back. Okay, my apologies, he's second.
Shelton has this. If she runs out of fuel now, it's
She
basically all
could shut the car off and coast. There's no elevation changes that would cause that car to in any way slow up, I don't think.
And she does go down pit road, but she won't. She would, unless her pit box is before pit road, she would have won anyway. So Jessica Shelton wins at Watkins Glen.
Retro Racing Enterprise in a retro car. Shelton on fuel mileage wins here at the Glen and becomes the first non-Tweenix driver to win here in Season 10.
Just astonishing, but think about this. Chevys are still dominant in this season.
They are indeed, 4 for 4. And you got to think about it too. I mean, it was basically a race where cautions, breeding cautions, and we had a 4-lap dash at the end that went green, and it really did come down to strategy here at the Glen.
Yeah, and Jessica Shelton, remember a few days ago we had that Budweiser All-Pro Series race, which is also part of the NNSCRA. On the last lap, under caution, she was leading and she ran out of gas. So this is definitely boost up her confidence for...
She's out of fuel! I just heard it! She's out of fuel! Car just shut down!
Well, at least it isn't the last lap a couple days ago.
Yeah. Well, if it had been one extra lap where she just ran out of fuel, I think she still would have made it around to the line. Maybe, I don't know. She's going 60 miles an hour right now down this straightaway.
Well, she made the right move.
Yes, she did. So apparently she was able to... I honestly do not know if she really was conserving fuel on that last run, but we know that even if she wasn't, she was going to be able to make it the rest of the way on fuel. Full, probably, I'd say maybe 2/3 of a lap to the good, based on where she just ended up running out of fuel at. And yeah, she's still around 50 miles an hour. She would have been able to coast back around here to the line. I think she still would have won this thing if we had had one extra lap.
Yeah, she would. Ooh,
wow.
Oh.
Bobby Labonte in it much? Water barrels. And look at there's Jacob Lawler right there. So I don't know. It might have been close if it had been an extra lap.
Yeah, but Jacob Lawler had some fuel in it. She was going faster.
Yeah, that's true. So Shelton is going to win here today. Jacob Lawler, kind of a come from out of nowhere for Jacob Lawler. Showed up there near the end of the race. And even after having to pit and everything, he had got himself some track position with staying out. And he's going to come in with a solid runner-up place. Undoubtedly one of the strongest cars of the day. Bob Jones will get third. Benjamin Miles, a great run for him in fourth. And Charles Jackson's going to finish out in the fifth position. Rest of the top 10 being... Nathan Hudson, Seth Cole, Chris Washer, Johnny Gardner without a hood again, 9th place, and Dougie Shears completing the top 10.
Yeah, I think the bottom half of the top 10 are like sleepers. We didn't talk about them all race.
Yeah, the only one that I could see there in the bottom of the top 10 that was even up there at any point was Seth Cole. We saw him up there very early on in this race, but then kind of faded from view. But yeah, a lot of surprises there in Hudson and Washer and Johnny Gardner. Great runs for those guys right there.
Definitely very great run. So without a hood, you can't get that anywhere else except Watkins Glen.
Yep, Watkins Glen are a short track, places where aerodynamics don't matter. But also with Jessica Shelton winning here, let's see about her teammate Charles Sanford. Now Sanford finished in the 23rd position. In order to take over the points lead from Trent Dunham, he had to finish 9 spots ahead of Trent, which means Trent would have had to have finished in 33rd or worse. Trent finished in 38th, so it's a great day for Retro Racing Enterprises. Shelton goes to victory lane, and her teammate Charles Sanford will take over the points lead in the Snickers Cup heading to next week.
Definitely a tight points battle. For the final season, what do you expect? This is going to be one of the best points battle, in my opinion, of all the series.
Everybody wants to win the final Snickers Cup Series championship, and we've got 3 drivers now that have put their names in the hat to be potential contenders for that championship. Trent Dunham, Dylan Poteet, and now Jessica Shelton. So this wraps it up from Watkins Glen. I want to thank Chris Washer for joining me here today for, yes, it was a yellow field race, but great racing there at the end. Thanks for being in the booth with me.
No problem. Road course racing is my specialty.
Alright, so thanks everybody for watching. If you enjoyed this, be sure to give us a video, like, subscribe, and become part of the crew today. Also, be sure to check out Chris Washer's channel. Link to his channel will be down in the description. Here comes your official full finisher results from today's race, your rookie points, and your overall points heading into next week. I'm trying to remember where we're going. For some reason, I'm wanting to say Atlanta, but I might be wrong. So don't quote me on that. I don't, right off the top of my head, remember where we're going, but we'll see you when the next Snickers Cup Series race comes out. Chris, any final remarks?
Seth, I believe next week's gonna be at Michigan Volcano.
Oh dear. These drivers are dead. Alright, thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you guys next time if you've been watching another production of the NNSCRA Offline Racing at its Best. Goodbye from the Glen. I was attacked by the mafia and a serial killer, and I was haunted by the jester. I died! I died!
Oh, start one! What?
Whoa!
What? The arson. The arson.
Whoa!
Stop it, a win! A big win! An arsonist! The arsonist won!
Oh, you can look at tears. This is good. He doesn't know you. Where are you going? Can I do now?